I don't know. I don't know which one to choose. I can't. I can't do it. I can't possibly do this. I have to choose one. What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. Choose or Die is the brand new Netflix original film. It dropped on the platform today. We are going to talk about it. Is it good? Well, let's do it. After firing up a lost 80s survival horror game, a young coder unleashes a hidden curse that tears reality apart, forcing her to make terrifying decisions and face deadly consequences. So it's one of those she realizes she's no longer playing for money, she's playing for her own life types of movies. Let's talk about the rating super quick like we always do. I can't find an official one, but since it's a TV movie, I'm going to assume it's TV mature, not only because there's a little bit of cursing and some imagery, but some terrifying moments that involve blood and gore. So if you like that type of thing, I think that helps the experience, but it's definitely not a movie for families unless you want to traumatize your kids. Kayla, played by Iola Evans. She is a wannabe coder, a college dropout. She's finishing her night shift at the beginning of this movie. Her friend Isaac, played by Asa Butterfield, who I'm a huge fan of, is designing this modern game. So their dynamic, at the beginning at least, was interesting enough. They found this cassette to where they call this number where Robert Englund, who is of course a horror icon, offers them $125,000 as a cash prize if they can complete this game. So the game they are playing, which is very clearly trying to harken back to this 80s retro style, slowly begins to seep into the real world and molds reality and this virtual reality space into one. So we're getting that 8-bit animation as she's playing, but all of the decisions that she's making, it's affecting real life. The first example is this waitress. It almost feels like she's possessed. She begins to break glasses. So Kayla's trying to answer these questions in which she has to choose or die. Should she continue to do this? Should she clean it up? So the first answer, of course, is, well, clean it up. But the waitress's way of cleaning it up is very, interesting. So we're getting a lot at the beginning. This supernatural element, some crazy imagery, blood and gore. And I was thinking to myself as this was going down, even though they're not doing a great job of building up these characters or establishing the situation, the game itself is fascinating. So I'm like, all right, if I'm getting this type of entertainment all throughout the movie, and as long as they kind of deliver on the ending, I think I'm at least going to have fun with it. There's also clearly a lot that they're hearkening back to. Obvious references, but I'll mention them nonetheless. Jumanji, The Matrix, a little bit of that unfriended type of horror in there, but the complexity or lack thereof when we talk about the actual story reminded me more so of a movie by the name of Truth or Dare, which I was not a fan of, because what Truth or Dare did, it gave us this fascinating premise but never elaborated on really anything and never delivered on compelling characters. And even though there's a lot that they set up at the beginning, whether it be kind of the area that our main character is living in, that relationship with her mother, which they just did not explore whatsoever, a drug-infested place that she is living in, trying to get herself out of this, even though the game that she continues to play, other people are looking at her and going, yeah, we can't have you working here, or those types of examples. But all of these interesting elements in the first act are put on the back burner to focus on the game, and normally that's a good thing. The big problem with the movie, and something that I just could not get past, is that as we progress throughout, we don't really get those answers. And I was struggling to understand why things are happening on screen with no explanation. I get it, the game, she has to continue to play it, but there's no depth, and it almost feels like the movie didn't know what to do with itself beyond this really fascinating draw that you have here that's going to get people interested, and you're going to see this on Netflix and go, oh my God, choose or die? And that concept is fascinating, especially when we're building tension. One scene where someone is running from something. Now, you don't see it. You see the 8-bit version of it, but it still does a nice job of building that tension. But to look a little deeper than that, and when the story begins to come together and play out, I'm thinking to myself, I don't care about these characters. So when someone does die, you don't really feel the stakes. If they die or not, whatever, just give me more of the game. But even the game, at a point, gets so convoluted, and it doesn't really make sense until the third act when they try to explain it to you. But that explanation, and really the ending as a whole, the entirety of the third act, I'm going, what? Like That's how you're going to end this? That's how you're going to bring all of this together? The whole point of the movie is to build to this rousing finale, and it does that, but I didn't find the finale rousing. I found it really convoluted and overly ridiculous. My big issue with this film is depth. There's not a lot of character depth, even at the beginning, when we're realizing where these characters come from and that relationship, a bit of an awkward romance in there. None of that is built upon, and I look at this runtime as one of the most interesting factors because while it moves quick, and I like the fact that we got done in around 90 minutes, I'm also thinking to myself, if this was a series and you had more time to flesh all of this out and turn that third act with one or two moments of fascinating lore into something that could have given us much more of an understanding as to how this movie was intended to play out, I feel as if this could have been good. And that really affected my enjoyment at the end of the day because I felt everything was shortchanged and I felt the narrative just wasn't interesting enough. Before I give you my score, I talk all things Netflix and streaming on this channel, so if you'd like to subscribe, I'm reviewing things almost every single day, and dropping that like below would be awesome. It helps the algorithm. Choose or Die embraces that nostalgic retro feel and delivers on the gore, but this story is completely underdeveloped. It may leave viewers confused and wishing for a series instead of a film. I'm going a 30% with my score. It just didn't come together for me at the end of the day. As fascinating as some of the moments were, and the imagery is nice, but I need to know, did you get enjoyment? And sometimes that's all that matters. Appreciate it big time. I'll see you guys soon.